welcome to I'm Recruiter Review with Us program. So we are really excited to have Raj from Reczee. So thank you so much, Raj, for your time and considering it is our first product review program with you, and definitely looking forward for more insightful discussion across Reczee products, Screeno as well as like the ATS. Right. Before we start, I just wanted to quickly introduce everyone. Hi, everyone. So we have Raj today. He's the founder of Reczee. He has been working with multiple different, before starting Reczee, he has worked with multiple different companies, and finally he found his passion to start his own organization, which is Reczee now, and he's trying to solve some of the critical problem which recruiter or in general talent acquisition has. And yeah, so let's hear from Raj what exactly he's trying to do and like how his products are trying to solve those problem statement and how it's trying to make the life easy of the recruiter friends. Over to you, Raj.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me, Prafulla. Great to be talking to you again. And sorry, I couldn't. We were supposed to do this session sooner, but something or the other thing came up. But yeah, glad to do this session again. And yeah, I love the format this time around. You are doing product reviews instead of just a conversation. So would love to talk about what we are building as well as also share my screen and probably also discuss what we do. Just a quick introduction. My name is Raj. I'm founder of Reczee, and we have multiple products into the recruitment space, primarily targeted towards bringing efficiency into recruitment. We have an ecosystem of products ranging from ATS, talent marketplace, Screeno for screening, and so on. So I think today we can cover Screeno, maybe some other time cover other products as well. But yeah, just to talk a bit about like the problem statement, right? So now recruiters are well aware of this problem because they are dealing with this every day. If you post a job on any job board right now, you receive, let's say, 1,000 applications. Now, recruiters are just not sort of well versed with dealing with this much volume, and this is just for one job I'm saying. And usually recruiters work with, let's say, 4 or 5 jobs. If they're dealing with 5,000 applications, it's humanly not possible to actually review every application. And this is a note to candidates as well. If candidates are viewing this, it's just impossible for a person to actually see 5,000 resumes and then debate that, oh, you spent only 4 or 8 seconds on my profile, but it's just not humanly possible. Right. So this is the interesting problem that we came across while we were building ATS, and then we expanded our product suite to Screeno. But yeah, any questions before I move forward?
Yes, definitely. So before we start, right, just one question which I have is like, why you have started your organization Reczee, and like, what were the problem statement you were trying to solve? Definitely, one thing which you have already mentioned, that the volume, the recruiters can't. It's not possible as a human to review all 5,000 resumes in one particular day or two or so, right? So that is definitely one problem statement. What was in general when you were trying to build Reczee?
Correct. Yeah, thanks for asking that question, Prabhula. So basically, I'm a software engineer by profession. I have worked with a couple of product unicorns before this. I was very closely involved into the recruitment activities in both of these organizations. We almost 3x or 4x the team size when I was there in both of these organizations. So I used to see a lot of sort of activities being done manually outside of the ATSs. Both of these organizations were using ATSs, but then a lot of things were still done manually around spreadsheets. Some of those things were almost always out of sync and other things, right? So this was the core problem that I wanted to solve, that every single recruitment activity and stakeholder should be on one platform, right? There should be literally zero spreadsheets that should be required. And we also guarantee that now in our ATS landing page, that with Reczee ATS, you would not require any spreadsheet whatsoever, right? So every single stakeholder would be on the platform, every single activity would be done in the platform, right? But yeah, as I said, so we started with ATS. We already have paying customers for that. Then we came across more and more problem statements while we interacted with our customers. They came up with applicant spam being the issue, and we sort of innovated around what we can do to solve that problem as well. Screeno is an independent product, as well as it also integrates seamlessly with Reczee ATS as well. So that's how we are seeing that ecosystem coming together to solve for the efficiency there.
Sure. Thanks, Raj, for the brief.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Awesome. So on the Screeno side, so as I said, right, now there are 3 kinds of recruiters. Once you have these 1,000 applications in place, the first recruiter is the hardworking one, basically the person who would actually review all the 1,000 applications one at a time, and then sort of reach a stage where they have, let's say, 100 candidates who are worth interviewing, or probably 50 candidates worth interviewing, right? So the problem with this kind of recruitment model is that you don't have enough time, right? A recruiter who's going to review 1,000 resumes would probably take a week to actually review 1,000 resumes. In that week, what could have happened is, of course, you lost that much amount of business value that you were not able to close that position in that week, versus also the candidate might have found some other opportunity by that time and someone closed that faster.
Yes.
That's value lost in both these sides. Basically, someone needs to work very fast to actually reach to an offer stage, right? So that is the first kind of recruiter. The second kind of recruiter who's slightly smarter, who wants to do that, I'll just process a batch of, let's say, 50 candidates every day. If I find some good candidates, I'll start interviewing them. And then if I'm not able to close, then keep looking at the other 900 candidates and keep sort of trying to close the position, right? Now, the problem with this approach is that you don't have any way to prioritize those 50. You can only do it chronologically, right? That who applied first, the first 50 batch I'll process first, and then I'll go to the next 950. Now, what could happen is you might settle for someone who's in the first 50 batch, whereas some good candidate who's like even better than these 50 altogether is getting missed because you didn't even open the resumes in the first place, right? So that is the problem with this approach, right? Most of the recruiters follow this approach because they don't want to sort of review every resume one at a time. And the third kind of recruiter is like one of the most interesting one, where they completely ignore inbound applications. They're like, we'll do our sourcing, we'll do our headhunting, we'll do our referral processing, or we'll do our agency management, but I don't want to even open a single resume. Which is very surprising, because if you ask candidates, their go-to platform to apply to any job is the careers page or the job board, right? And if you're ignoring that, then the candidates are not even aware that they should have come via the referral channel, basically.
Yeah.
If you compare this with the sales world, if you tell a salesperson that you have to, going forward, you have to ignore all the inbound leads that you get, you have to only do outreach, cold outreach to prospects, they would be like, how would I close any deals, right? Because the inbound leads come with a lot more sort of insight, right? They have already researched about the company. They have already shown interest. They might have researched about the teams and other things that you mentioned in the JD. Now, that's a different story, that your 1,000 might have 800 people who have not even read the JD, right? But then there are those 200 who are just sitting there waiting for you to reach out to them, and you close them for free, right? Because you're not paying any agency fee, you are not paying any referral fee. But it's just that the recruiters don't have any way to reach to these 200 efficiently, right?
Yes.
So yeah, these are the three kind of models. Any questions here?
I personally is kind of the second one. So I
Correct.
follow like the top 10, 50 and try to reach out to them accordingly, and whichever clear, we move ahead accordingly, right?
Correct.
And same, whatever you have mentioned, and due to that, we sometimes miss some of the very good candidates whose
Correct.
resume have gone down, right?
Correct.
In the
Correct.
ITS, it generally shows only profile who have applied recently, right? Who are on the top list, right? Top funnel, I would say.
Correct. So top funnel, as well as like you don't have any way for you to know which resumes to open first until you open them.
Yes,
So,
yes.
So yeah, that's the core problem that we were solving. That let's say if you receive 1,000 applications, how do you reach to a stage where you say that these 50 are the ones I need to move to, let's say, interview stage, right? Or let's say open in the first place, right? If you get that list, then only then you can move fast as well, right? So I'll quickly share my screen. I'll show you what we have built, and we can probably have a discussion around that. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see.
Awesome. So this is the dashboard of Reczee Screeno. This is the independent Reczee Screeno product. I'm not talking about ATS right now. But the problem being, let's say you receive 1,000 applications, you can upload these resumes here. And what we'll do is automatically tag these candidates into these tags: top company, hackathon winner, top institute, open source enthusiast, research paper author, and so on and so forth. Right. So what happens here is the recruiter didn't even open a single resume. They just sort of got these applications in their funnel and automatically got every candidate tagged into these tags. Now, of course, you would say that I might not be just hiring from top companies, which are, let's say, unicorns or top companies, right? But we also help you customize these lists, right? So let's say if you are a fintech company and you only want fintech companies in this list, we also help you customize that list of companies that you're interested in. Same with institutes as well. And a lot more other tags apart from this as well, right? So for example, open source enthusiast. Now, most of the candidates who are tech candidates, they would be linking their GitHub profile in their resume. Now, not every recruiter knows what to look for in a GitHub profile. And even if they had that knowledge that, okay, these are the things that I need to look for, they can't do that for 1,000 resumes, right? Because it's just not scalable, right?
Yeah.
So what we have done is automated the entire thing. You just upload a resume. We make sure that what kind of contributions the candidate has done. We qualitatively evaluate that and then assign these tags automatically to these candidates. And same with other coding profiles, like let's say lead code forces. These are some of the websites that a lot of candidates are now linking on their resumes, right? So all of these usually come into a picture when a hiring manager is screening that resume, right? But then what if you have this information beforehand, right? Before even the recruiter opens that in the first place. So for a recruiter, now it's as simple as either you sort by tags, which might be, let's say, one way to look at this, saying that, okay, I'll only process the top candidates out of this, or you sort by, let's say, you want to only look for top company candidates first. So you just see those candidates first in the first look. If you are able to close these candidates, well and good, you are lucky and you got your candidate. If not, you lose on your search, saying that, okay, I might miss out on the top company, but let me just look for top institute for an example, right? So this way, you are now prioritizing quality candidates which are much more relevant for your role, as well as you don't have to actually open resumes until you reach this stage, right? Of course, now we are not saying that completely remove recruiter from this angle. Right? A recruiter still needs to open this resume and figure out that, okay, is this even relevant for me in the context of what job description I have in, right? I might be hiring, let's say, an intern, but a tech lead also might have these tags. So how do I sort of screen that, right? So that part the recruiter is still doing. But then now your search space is a lot more smaller, right? You are not working on 1,000 resumes. You are working on 20 resumes, for example, right? And this is how you move fast. And this happens within seconds. So your recruiter, as soon as the candidate applies, you just have these tags automatically. And you start applying filters automatically here and it starts working, right? So any questions on this?
Yeah. So just starting point, what I have is like, do I need to upload the job description? Let's say it is not connected to any ATS as of now, right? And I wanted to
Correct.
go ahead with the independent Screeno product, right? So
Correct.
do I need to start with uploading the job description first, or like what will be the process for that?
I'll quickly just mention that. So we do have a match score as well. So that is integrated with ATS. I'll get to that part as well. But this independent Screeno product can give you the tags right now, right? You can still do the job description matching how you are doing currently, right? This is independent Screeno as a product, basically.
Okay.
I'll get to where we integrate with ATS.
Yes. Second question which I have is, how many resume do I need to upload? Let's say I have 1,000 resume. So
Correct.
what is the capability of Screeno, right? And
Yeah.
is it only takes a resume, or like it can also, let's say we download some Excel kind of format and it can convert those into resumes as well?
Correct. That's an amazing question. So I think we are just going ahead of what I am going to show. So basically, the same part which you mentioned, that you can't expect a recruiter to upload 1,000 resumes here, right? Because
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah.
again increasing their work. Your idea is
Yes.
not to
Yes.
increase their work, to reduce their work waste,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I was just showing you the manual side of things. A lot of companies don't receive 1,000 applications, right?
Yeah.
A lot of companies might just receive, let's say, 100, 200 applications.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
them, this flow works very well, right? For them,
Okay.
it's just you upload these resumes and it starts working, right?
Okay.
I'll quickly cover the features first, and then I'll
Sure.
show you the different form factors of how you get candidates to the system, right? This is just one way of getting candidates to the system, right? Now, coming to the other problem is, as I said, right, if you're hiring for, let's say, an engineering manager, do you even want to look at 24 graduates? Because you know for sure that you're not going to hire them as an engineering manager.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
based
Yeah.
on the supply demand gap that you see right now, you would see lots of freshers applying to engineering manager position. They're also trying their luck, but then the idea here is that recruiter is getting sort of suffered in this process, right? Recruiter needs to still open and then realize that, oh, this person is not relevant for me, right? So what we have done is we automatically pass the graduation year and post-graduation year as well here, right? So
Okay.
for
Okay.
me, if I'm hiring, let's say let's say I'm hiring for an engineering manager role, I'll probably put a filter saying that, okay, only show me candidates who are in this range, right?
Okay.
Now, this has already reduced by 1,000 to, let's say, 300 or 400, right?
Okay.
And that 1,000 might be, in your case, it might be just 200. So you might get your 50 candidates just by putting an experience range filter,
Okay. Okay.
if not
Okay.
anything else, right? So this way, this is the biggest chunk of spam actually. So your biggest chunk of the spam is resolved with this. And then you can use this contextual tags to actually filter based on whatever your requirements are. That is on the experience range filter. And what you can also do is you can also Boolean search inside the resume text here. So let's say I'm a fintech company. I want to search for if some candidate has fintech experience or not. And the candidate should be based out of, let's say, Bengaluru or Mumbai, right? So I can do something like this. And this actually searches inside the resume text. These are sample resumes. I'm not sure if this would result in anything. So the idea is that now you are searching based on your specific requirements. If I have to show you this resume, these are sample resumes, but there would be somewhere fintech in this resume. Yeah, you see fintech here, right? And the candidate is based out of Bengaluru, for example, right? So the idea here is that now your hiring manager gave you a JD which required a lot more niche skills to be searched. You can do those searching inside your inbound applications itself. This is usually not possible with most of the job boards, basically. Most of the job boards would just give you like a simple keyword search or sort. And if you're doing this with, let's say, your email, then again, you have to do that search on email, and it might search in your resume versus not search inside your resume if they added that keyword in the email or not. It depends on that also, right? So now you have multiple ways for you to figure out that which are the most relevant candidates with combination of all of these filters, your Boolean search, your filters with graduation year, Screeno tags, and so on. Once you have all of this, you might have only a funnel of, let's say, 30, 40 candidates. So you just get those 30, 40 candidates to interview stage instead of a chronological order of such, right? So any questions so far? I've covered most of the feature side of things.
So
I'll get
I
to the...
think that definitely it's going to save time for the recruiters for sure. So like again, in terms of tag wise, so can we also go and create our own tags, or like it's predefined tag by Reczee?
Correct. That's a great question. Actually, these tags are, like as I said, right, each of these tags has a custom implementation attached to it, right? An open source enthusiast is actually going to GitHub of that candidate, figuring out what kind of repositories they have contributed to, if they have made some meaningful contributions or just created like one-liner code change kind of thing. All of those things are sort of tracked in a single place. So each of these tags is a custom sort of intelligence layer that we have built. So what we do is, based on the company's requirements, we help them customize these tags as well as add tags in case they want, right? A lot of companies, let's say, come up with saying that I want someone who has worked with B2B SaaS experience, right? So then we help them sort of implement a tag for their own company itself. Not a lot of companies want to just do that, right? So we because it's not as simple as just adding one more tag, right? It's sort of some intelligence which goes behind to actually tag these resumes. So that's why we take that based on the request from the customers.
Okay. So one question is like, why only these particular tags? Why not something else?
Correct. Yeah, I think these are just qualitative tags. As I mentioned, I'll show you the job description match score as well. So these are qualitative tags which does not change over time, right? If someone has contributed to open source after 3 years, if I'm looking at this resume, that person is still an open source enthusiast. Same with top institute. If someone has sort of studied in a specific institute, that's going to be there in their resume forever, right? So these are tags which are showing you candidate traits. These are not tags which are saying that, okay, this person is good on ownership, this person is good on communication, and so on, right? These tags are very subjective in nature. But these tags come with an accuracy of more than 95%. If we have said that someone has a top institute, most likely they would have a top institute in their list. And we also help you customize this in this, right? And a lot of NLP and a lot of AI goes into this, getting into this, because a lot of people would write, let's say, Triple IT Hyderabad. Someone would write International Institute of Information Technology Hyderabad. Someone would write a comma. Someone would write a hyphen. All sorts of combinations. So we handle. Yeah.
Let's say someone has just done some kind of certification from the top institute versus someone who has studied from that institute. So does Screeno understand that this is not the top institute candidates what we are looking for. It's just a certification.
Correct. As I said, right, that intelligence engine does all of these bifurcations as well. So this top institute is if they have actually studied in that institute.
Okay.
But if you are searching in Boolean search, unlike that, let's say if you are searching for IIT Bombay here, this will just search inside resume text wherever someone has written IIT Bombay.
Okay.
So
Got it.
this is where we are giving you the power to actually combine based on multiple filters. But then this is where we sort of concretize that this is only the institutes that they have studied, basically. Right?
Sure.
Depends on the resume formatting and a lot more other things around the kind of resume that they have uploaded. And so any questions so far?
All good.
Awesome. So yeah, this is the manual side of things. Now I'll show you the same sort of intelligence engine now working on different form factors, right? One is, of course, you upload resumes manually. The second is, of course, if you're using our own ATS product as well. So our ATS product has, let's say you have a job link and you want to publish these jobs on your, what happens is once you receive these applications, automatically all of these categorization is happening, right? So the recruiter didn't even manually sort of published anything here. So they just send that link on LinkedIn or WhatsApp or wherever they are. And what happens is automatically all of these candidates are tagged. Automatically the graduation year is sort of parsed. And automatically you also get a score here. Now this score is basically based on the job description. So in the job description, you might have written n number of things, that experience range this, skills are these, they should have been studied computer science or not, and n number of things that you might have written in the job description, right? So this score is basically based on that. What is the resume text? What is the job description text? How much of them are matching based on the designation that you're hiring for, based on the role that you're hiring for, skills, education, and so on, right? So now when you are working with an ATS, you have two sort of things to do. One, you can just say that, okay, only let me process the good match once first. If I'm able to close from this well and good, I am done with my job. If not, I'll probably make it a good match and moderate match and then sort of broaden my search out of this, right? So does that answer your question on the job description side of things?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So this is the integration, and of course, this is like a native integration with our ATS. So you can also do a Boolean search, and you can also, and this, all of these things happen right within the ATS. So you can like open any one candidate and start scheduling of calls. You can start adding comments. All of those things are possible once you are in the ATS, right? So this is with our ATS. What we also do is we integrate with other ATSs also. So for example, let's say take the example of Greenhouse, right? Now this is a sandbox account that we have from Greenhouse. So let's say in this account, I have these 42 candidates. So one way which most of the recruiters right now are doing is they click on this review applications. This might have 100, 200, 300,000 applications. What they'll do is keep on like with arrow keys, keep on moving to each of these applications, do a reject or advance out of this. But this is still manual, right? Because you still have to do this for 1,000 people, and 1,000 resumes is something that you need to screen from. So what we have done is we are actually an official partner of Greenhouse and Lever with this add-on. What we can do is either you can search based on the match score, saying that, okay, only show me good match or moderate match candidates, right? This will automatically show me those candidates in Greenhouse itself, right? A Greenhouse user doesn't need to know that there's something called Reczee. It's just automatically doing these fields, and they never left Greenhouse as a platform. And the same thing, you also have other sort of fields, like let's say graduation year that we were talking about, right? So here also you can do the same exact thing where you are looking for, let's say 2013 to 20 candidates. So you got these 6 candidates right here itself, right? And same with tags as well. So in this as well, you have these tags saying that, okay, only show me top company Reczee candidates. So out of the 6 also, I'm only looking at these 3 first, and I'm done with the hiring post tag. Right. So of course, when you open these candidates also, each of these elements are also shown here. So let's say your hiring manager is looking at this profile, they'll also be able to see that someone has tagged this candidate as an open source enthusiast, so this candidate must be good. They don't even have to open GitHub to realize if that is good or not. And same with top competitive programmer, top company, and so on. And all of these details like graduation year, post-graduation year, Screeno and score and other things is also populated here. Right. So this is the power of integrating with an ATS, because ATS already has a job description. It's a native integration. So all the screening side of things happens almost seamlessly while the user keeps using the ATS how they were using before, right? So any questions on the Greenhouse side of things?
Okay. Again, like, can you go to the first page? Is this the first page for the Greenhouse? Yeah.
The first page is in the candidates page. Yeah.
Yeah, candidate side.
Correct.
Okay. So this is like this home screen once the candidate apply, and so we need to use the tags by filtering, putting those filters as well, right? And based on that, like
correct,
whichever tag we are putting, it will highlight those top candidates accordingly.
Correct. And it depends on the criteria as well, right? A lot of hiring managers are now saying that I only want to hire an open source enthusiast, right? A lot of people might say that I only want to hire. It depends on what criteria you have as a hiring manager and a recruiter. And that's why we are giving this contextual information to you. We are not saying that, okay, only hire these people. We are saying these are the candidate traits. You have a lot more information before even you open the resume of this candidate. For opening a resume, I need to open this and then click on this resume and then figure out if that candidate was good or not, right? So it's just you prioritizing the right candidates first and then trying to close the role faster. Yeah.
Okay. And like the order which is currently in that particular page, it is automatically created by Reczee, or like it just based on the application people have applied on the date and time?
Yeah, I'm not sure about Greenhouse. In Greenhouse, I think the order is based on the most recent candidates, I think. So it depends on that. I think there might be a way for you to sort candidates also. Yeah, here it is, right? So you might be able to sort on Greenhouse as well. In Reczee, it's different. In Reczee, it's based on the match score or the last update, depending on when you are seeing.
Okay.
So yeah, you can still sort here. I was also not sure. I think I just saw this field.
Okay. So here, like, what are the tags? Like only those 4 tags, or we can use all the tags whichever are there in Greenhouse.
In Greenhouse also, if you have multiple tags, you can search with multiple tags also. So let's say hackathon adding some tags manually also after reviewing, right? After reviewing also, some person might say that, okay, this person has blockchain experience. This person is an open source enthusiast and so on. So if you have manually added those tags, you can do a combination of manual tags as well as your Reczee tags and do that. I think I'll just find a way. Yeah, here. So let's say I want to, as a recruiter, I reviewed this profile. I realized that, okay, this person has done fintech. All right. So I can do something like this. It will create a tag and I just create this. So it's like a native tag. Like we populated this tag as Reczee as the backend. Greenhouse is just a UI layer on top. Right. So Greenhouse is just giving you the candidate information. Reczee is running its own intelligence engine and populating these tags directly on Greenhouse. So for a recruiter, it's as simple as you defining what's your hiring criteria and doing a combination of this to get the top candidates basically.
Okay. So just in terms of Greenhouse and Reczee, it's kind of like we'll have the normal ATS view. Post that we have to just put the filters which Reczee has, and it will help me to reduce the candidate based on the top companies or top candidates or top scores, whatever the tags we have, right?
Correct. And it depends, like your hiring criteria might have a different sort of thing. So in case you need custom tags, we can work on that custom tag, or you can also put a graduation year filter to just ensure you are even processing the right candidates in the first place.
Okay. And let's say like there are a bunch of candidates in one of the role. So how much time it will take to process? Like
correct. That's a great question. So I'll just show you the flow as well. So we also have a UI which tells you that what candidates do you want us to tag, right? One way is, of course, we say that every single candidate in your Greenhouse will get tagged, but that would be costly for the company because you might have already hired people, you might have already rejected people. You don't want to tag every single candidate. So you can choose that, okay, I am only interested in running Reczee Screeno for software engineer role, that too only in the application review stage. And even in this, let's say, of course, application review is one stage. Even in this, I'm only interested in candidates coming from LinkedIn because this is where my volume is going to come with.
Yeah.
You still want to manually review all your referrals, right? You still want to probably manually review all your agency uploads. So you can decide where your spam is coming from. If that spam is not handleable by a recruiter, then you just decide that, okay, these are the candidates I want to tag, and you submit this. Automatically, all the tags are going to be populated only for those candidates, basically. So it just starts showing up here as well in the Greenhouse UI. Right?
Okay, got it.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, I think that's on Greenhouse. The same experience we have on Lever also. I'll skip that experience. I'll quickly now show the third kind of form factor that we have is Google Sheets. This is the bread and butter for most of the recruiters because they want jobs to be posted on Google Forms.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know. This is I'm talking about recruiters who are having an ATS, right?
Yeah.
If you are not having an ATS, it's okay. But if you are having an ATS and still using Google Forms, I think you should change your ATS. But the idea here is that a lot of recruiters are doing this Google Form hiring. So let's say you posted a software engineer role. Of course, these are just dummy values, but you would still have 1,000 applications here as well, right? You would have a resume link here. Now, one way is, of course, I open every link, download every resume, and then upload this manual side of things, right? And get these tags and then process. This is too much of work. We don't want recruiters to do that. So what we did is we built a spreadsheet add-on, Reczee Screeno right here. There's a setup involved for this. But once you have set it up, it shows as a menu item. You click on fetch Screeno tags and it just runs the script across each of these. So you see the tags directly here.
Okay.
So the recruiter didn't even manually open a single resume here itself, right? So we did this hiring. We did this as an experimentation. We got 3,000 resumes for one of the software engineer roles that we were hiring for. It took us like 2 days for us to reach to a interview stage candidates, basically, right? Because now I want to first look at candidates who are me as a person, as a hiring manager who's interested. I want to first look at people who have a good open source contribution, right? So I'll first put a filter of open source enthusiast here, and only then look at the other candidates on top company and top institute and so, right? So, and of course, these also get uploaded in this UI. So in case you want to do, let's say, a Boolean search, so you can still come back to this UI and do this Boolean search or do a filter on graduation year. A lot of people are now putting graduation year in the Google form itself. So you can filter here itself in case you want to do that. So this is the other form factor. The baseline being the intelligence engine is the same, but the form factor of the same thing is different. We want to reduce the amount of work that recruiters does in general. So we don't want them to upload manually. So we go to all the ecosystem where they are hanging out. So Google Forms is one, ATS is another base. And of course, you can manually upload the resumes as well. Right?
And how old is Reczee currently? Sorry, Screeno currently?
Screeno is roughly 9 months, I think, 10 months, probably 8 or 9 months, I think. So we launched with the manual thing, but over the period of time, we kept adding more and more forms, basically. The ATS ones are recent. Google Form is even more recent. I think Google Form is just a month or 2 months old.
Okay. And what kind of reviews you have been getting from different recruiters who have been using different use cases, right? Some maybe spreadsheets, some maybe ATS, some maybe is the other version.
Correct. Yeah, I think most of our users are with a Reczee ATS plus Reczee Screeno kind of combination. So they are, because it's our native integration, we have made it so smooth for customers that everything happens seamlessly directly from here. For them, just to give you an example, one of our recent customers who switched from another ATS, so they had 3,000 applications in one of their jobs, and we helped them migrate all that data from existing ATS to our ATS. And then for them, it took like literally 2 to 3 hours to just screen and get started with the interview process.
Okay.
And all that transition period, for 1 month, they were not able to process that data because the recruiter also was like, I don't want to manually screen these 3,000 resumes, right? And this I'm seeing in a lot more newer generation recruiters.
Yes.
They are realizing that 3,000 is just not humanly possible, right?
Yeah.
Still
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of like senior recruiters are like, no, this is our job, I need to do this. But things would change over a period of time, right? You would start realizing when your positions stop getting closed, like positions are not getting closed, right? Then you would realize that, okay, my screening took 2 weeks for me to realize that this candidate had applied 2 weeks before, and that candidate has already taken an offer and went away, right? So your speed comes into picture at that point in time when you are struggling to close a position, basically, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah, I think that's the quick story around Screeno and ATS.
Okay. So have you also
Right.
collected individual feedbacks from the recruiters? Definitely, that is one of the great example which you have given. But
Correct.
have you also tried to connect with different recruiters, ask them their review, personal review as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's an ongoing thing for any product that we launch, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a
yeah.
lot of times, for example, this Boolean search, right? That also came as a feature request from a user, right? That
Okay.
okay, I have these good match and other things, but I still want to see that which are the fintech ones. So one way is I create a tag for every single thing that they are looking for, but then we realize that might as well give them the freedom to just search what they want to search, right? We don't want to implement tags for small things. Someone might
Yeah.
say fintech is one thing. Someone might say B2B is one thing. Someone might say that I want to see how many candidates have worked in an early stage startup. Right? So all of those things, you can't keep adding tags here, right? You still want your tags to be much more relevant and contextual in way, right? So that's why we opened up this Boolean search. And yeah, I think this is the iterative process. A lot of times what we do is we just listen to our customers and see what they want. Tags also, as I said, research paper author was one of our customers' requirements, said that we're hiring for ML roles, but then I want people who have published papers, basically. Right? So then we realized that, of course, this is going to be a common use case, right? So
Yeah.
any common use case that we find, we just implement for every customer of ours, basically. Right?
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that's a bit around that.
Great. And in terms of like what kind of trend you are seeing currently in terms of uses of Reczee Screeno, right? What kind of trend you are seeing? Like definitely the main problem what we are trying to solve was make people life easy, mostly the recruiters' life easy. Are you seeing the uses recruiters are picking up using Reczee? How is the trend in general?
Yeah, I think as I said, right, a lot of new age recruiters are picking it a lot more faster because they are not very trained into like reviewing one resume at a time. So they see it as this is the default way of doing things, right? So this is what they are also understanding, as well as the new sort of the senior recruiters who are using the product. For them, it's like it's almost like a magic, right? They have done it for so long that okay, they thought that this is the only way in which you can sort of proceed with things. I've heard so many interesting stories from recruiters. One recruiter was saying that we do this thing on Thursday, that we have 5 recruiters in my team, and every Thursday we have like 2 hours block. In those 2 hours, we screen resumes, whatever role that is, right? If there are like 5 open roles, every role they just distribute that this person sees these 300, these 400, and so on. Right? So for them, it's like now I don't have to do all of those things. So that's the kind of feedback that you get, right? Because it's just this is something that even recruiters don't want to do, right? As a recruiter, you don't want to repeat something as 1,000 times, right? It's just boring and beyond a point, right? So that is where technology helps, basically.
The reason why I ask you this question is because even though there are many ATS available in the market, still recruiter to make recruiter use that ATS, it's very difficult sometimes.
Correct.
So how you are trying to make them comfortable using your product specifically?
Correct. It's a hard challenge, Prafula, to be honest. Doing podcasts like this is that awareness kind of thing, right? I'll give you a very small example, okay? So I have this right now. So we launched this bulk action thing, right? Now, usually people would open one resume, one application, send an email from here and track everything. Let's say you are sending an assignment email, right? Now, it took us so hard time for them to explain them that you just have to now select 3 things, click on email and select a template saying that, okay, I want to send a welcome email. It would send a personalized email. You click on this button and that's what it will do. So for us to make them implement this in their daily workflow, recruiters in general are on a muscle memory, right? If you are shown one thing once, you will do that for 100 times or 1,000 times. But then for you to realize that there's a better way, for you to unlock more time for yourself, right? That's one of the things that we are also sort of finding innovative ways to educate recruiters, that now you don't have to do the hard work that you used to do. So that's the challenge then.
So definitely awareness is one of the good way to make recruiters feel comfortable with the product and how to use it and all those things, or adapt Screeno, right? So are there any other innovative ways you are exploring? Because definitely to shift the mindset, it takes time, right? And definitely people feel valued where they see something coming out of that, right? Definitely hiring is good, right? We can hire faster, but that's because they have been following the same pattern. अभी hiring हो रहा है, same pattern में ही होना चाहिए. नया चीज adapt करने में it's take time for them, right? So are you trying something new, innovative ideas as well? Definitely podcast is good. What other ways?
Yeah, I think we are trying multiple things. We recently launched a spreadsheet calculator also for cost per hire kind of thing. So that received good engagement on LinkedIn. So like recruiters are always curious, right? They're always curious of new things, right? It's just that implementing that in their organization, a lot of times it's also a leadership issue, right? Your leadership doesn't want to implement a new tool and recruit. They're also constrained with that. It's not like recruiters don't want to solve for their time. It's just that it takes some time for the ecosystem to grow in general, right? Everybody wants to understand the pain points. And a lot of times in startup, it's even more that in startups, they realize that, okay, we'll do everything on Google Sheets for like 20, 30 hires. And by the time when they get to like 15, 20 hires, they realize that, oh, this is getting out of hand, right? So then they think around implementing in it. So people want to burn their hands until they try out something new, right? But yeah, I think it's a learning journey for us as well. We are also trying to find innovative ways to actually reach out to recruiters, trying to sort of educate them into tools, something like this as well. But yeah, it's like a collective effort, like your community, for example, right? A lot of times these communities would help people understand that a lot of times what happens is recruiters are always working on their laptop, right? So it's like I have this role to close. I have these 1,000 resumes. Let me quickly get on top of this. But what happens with these communities is someone would ask a question, someone would give an answer with a very innovative solution with that. And then the other recruiter would think that, oh, I should have also tried something like this, right? So that's the power of communities basically, that you sort of educate them in a very implicit way. You don't have to actually have training sessions to get recruiters to use these. But yeah.
Agree. So just to give you an example, even like a couple of days back, we asked our community members, like, what is one of the best sourcing method apart from your traditional sourcing platform, right? So people have given so many different answers, right? And it was good to know that like people came up with innovative ideas and all those things. And out of that, even I personally learned so many different things as well. And when I heard those things, I was trying to explore and check, hey, क्या होता है ये? क्या करना है? I was asking people as well.
And it's also, the ecosystem is also changing very fast, right? So it's not that all of these tools are also changing very fast, right? For example, LinkedIn Recruiter itself is changing very fast. So every recruiter also needs to be updated. So if they are fixed with, let's say, this is how I'll do my recruitment, they would not learn, right? They would not learn the new things that everyone is building around the ecosystem. So I think kudos to you to have like a very engaging community as well, to make sure everyone answers each other's questions as well.
Sure. Right. Okay. Now, one last two question I have for you is like, let's say I'm a recruiter, but I definitely like your product, right? So can I go and buy your product without buying from the organization side?
Correct. Yeah, I think if you have a credit card, then yes. Just kidding. I think our products are slightly tailored towards organizations. These are not independent tools. In case Screeno works independently as well. So in case you want to just buy Screeno for a few credits and you want to play around with, we also have generous free credits also. So people can try out the product before even they buy anything, right? So I think it depends on the kind of product as well. But in our products, for example, ATS, we usually want an organization to opt in for that, right? In ATS, just one recruiter can't do that. A lot of these ATS, I dislike these ATSs who just sell on recruiter licenses, right? Because in a way, then you are forcing that recruiter to say this is only your product, right? It's not your product. Your hiring manager needs to be there. Your interviewer needs to be there. Your agencies need to be there. Your leadership needs to be there. If that is not done in a like ground up manner, then your ATS is only going to be used for bookkeeping. So if you're only using for bookkeeping, might as well use your spreadsheet. Why are you even paying an ATS? That's the kind of thing.
And let's say if I somehow convinced my director or manager or let's say management to buy Reczee as a product, right? What will be the rough, not the exact, the ballpark number in terms of product? Like, is it vary from organization to organization based on the size, or like is it based on the license? How it is?
Yeah. So in Reczee, I think we have multiple products, each having their different pricing, other things. Most of the ATSs hide their pricing from their pricing page and have to go via demo call. We have a very transparent pricing. So most of the things people can see on the pricing page itself. But of course, ATS is much more mature product. So it's like a la carte of features you want to add, right? Some people would want an analytics module. Some people would have a referral module. Some people would have agency. Some people won't have it. So depending on the scale, we sort of customize and share that quotation, but everything is on the pricing page. So it's no, like a lot of ATSs also do like, okay, if you have raised Series A, then this is the pricing. If you have raised seed, then this is the price. We don't work that. We actually genuinely want to bring that adoption, right, in recruitment. So if you want to bring adoption, you need to be transparent, as well as you need to educate the recruiters in the right way, right? If you're just tricking them into a product, then eventually they would also feel that, okay, let's start renew this subscription and so on, right? So we actually want that part to be transparent.
So last question before we wind up, Raj. So definitely there are multiple different companies who are building ATS, who already have been building their ATS for long, who have building new ATS. There are companies who have done different things as well. So in terms of competition wise, how do you see Screeno to be different from other competitors?
Yeah, in general, if I had to talk just Screeno, there's no tool which does what Screeno is doing right now. So there's no direct competition for just Screeno, right? If you're talking about ATS, of course, there are ATSs in the market, hell lot of them. But then the idea here is that I tell this to a lot of recruiters also, right? A lot of recruiters come to our demo calls and say that I want an AI-enabled ATS, basically, right? I'm like, what is your problem? What are you trying to solve, right? It depends on every sort of organization to organization that this is what your recruitment is and this is what you want to streamline, right? Some people might have scheduling as your problem. Some people have collating everything in a single place problem, right? But this is a problem with both the sides. The companies are also saying that we have AI enabled ATS and then they sell with just a job description generator kind of thing. In the job description generation, you can do it with ChatGPT. You don't want ATS to be AI enabled and actually should not be done with ChatGPT. Also ask your hiring manager to give you the JD.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it depends on kind of use case, right? And how we are approaching this is your recruitment platform should be only one, right? You should not have your spreadsheets, you should not have your emails, you should not have your WhatsApp, and then also have an ATS where you're supposed to upload candidates from your email to ATS and other things, right? We want to collate everything in a single place and manage everything in a single place. And I think I might not have that account, but let me just see. So once you have all of those things in a single place, right? Let me just show you one thing. This is the power that usually comes very late for a recruiter to even realize value, right? It's not like if you log into a new ATS and you'll be able to see all of these values. But the importance is if you have one platform where all your stakeholders are there, then you can have these analytics, right? If your agencies are also uploading on this, then you can figure out that this is my funnel. If everyone is uploading here and rolling out offers also from here, then you can say that, okay, my offer stage is taking 4 days, right?
Yeah.
If every panel of yours is filling feedback on the ATS only, then you can see that, okay, there is this one panel who is always giving me strong, right?
Yes.
Then you can go back to your management saying that, okay, something's wrong with this panel. Let's try to change the problem statement that we are asked. So this is the power that comes when you have every data collated in a single place that you can't just do with all your data being scattered across multiple spreadsheets, right? Agency use case, I'm so surprised recruiters haven't realized this yet. Almost 90% of the agencies have their own spreadsheet. Now, let's say a recruiter wants to update that this data has been updated to interview schedule. Now, they would have their own master sheet. They would have their own ATS. They would have another sheet for your agency. If everything is done in a single place, only then you can actually realize the power of streamlined recruitment, right? Apart from that, you are just trying to be on top of things, always trying to have 30 hours in a day. And
Sure. So definitely, I think it's a great product. But again, like, let me review the whatever we have discussed and try to write it down and share with the community, collect their feedback as well. What they think, what kind of things when we are building something, it's close to our heart, right? We feel that it is very important. But again, like when we go back and see from other angles, sometimes we get the real feedback. So from my end, I feel Screeno is definitely good. It's very easy to use as well. Only one thing what I felt is like, since it is an independent product, if it can be used only by recruiters, then it can be a little bit more like otherwise organization level to adapt things, it takes time. But for a recruiter, individual recruiter to adapt things, it might be easy, right? What I felt, and it's a good thing, right? Screeno is a good
As
product.
I said, Screeno is independently usable by recruiters basically. So if you have a Google form and you want to use it, you can use it. ATS is where I said you would need your organization. Because Screeno is eventually you are solving for that 1,200 problem. This is just your recruiter's problem, so you can use that independently.
Sure. Great, Raj. Thank you for your time. It looks definitely great to know about Screeno inside out. So I'm pretty sure that like all our recruiters will love it. But again, like we will wait for their feedback as well. And once we have their feedback, we'll get back to you, Raj. And
Definitely,
I will ask all our community members to definitely see this video. If you feel this video useful, reach out to Raj, try to schedule a call with him and learn more about Screeno. And definitely it will help you save lots of your time in your recruiting journey. So thank you once again.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Prafula, for having me, and would love to hear your recruiters' feedback as well. I'm in the channel as well, so in case someone wants to WhatsApp instead of scheduling a demo call, feel free to message me as well. And I think we can link my LinkedIn as well in the chat. Yeah,
Sure.
sounds
Sure.
good.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye bye. Take care.